everyone, Katie Griffith here with Bright Solutions. Welcome to another episode of The Bright Side of AI, where we talk to senior living providers about how they're leveraging AI in their organization. And I'm so excited to have Tony with us today from Moorings Park. Welcome, Tony. I'd love for you to just introduce yourself.
Hi, Katie. Thank you for having me here today. As Katie said, my name is Tony Marques. I'm the Vice President of Technology Operations for Moorings Park in Naples, Florida.
Great. Well, I'm so excited to talk to you today because I get a front row seat. I'm lucky to all the amazing things that you're accomplishing there, you and the team, and with Dan at the helm there, excuse me. And I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. So today I'm excited to share just a little bit of what you all are doing with AI. And today is a special day when we release this on September 30th because it's the grand opening for Garden View, your new property. So I'd love
Right.
for you to tell us about Garden View.
Absolutely. Thank you. So Garden View is a boutique assisted living residence located at Moorings Park, Grand Lake, one of our communities here in Naples. Grand Lake, as we like to refer to it, is one of the most luxurious communities in the country. And because of that, we've decided that the assisted living residence should also be very special. So we've implemented a whole bunch of technologies to help our residents to age gracefully. And that's what we're hopefully going to talk about today.
Yes, absolutely. And I've had the pleasure of touring all of the campuses there at Moorings Park down in Naples. And oh my gosh, luxury is an understatement. It's such a beautiful place. And the team, too, is just incredible. The culture you all have there at
Thank you.
Moorings Park, you've just struck this balance with innovation and hospitality and really just inspiring wellness amongst your residents. And then the staff there, the employees, the team members, it feels like such a family, and everyone is just there with one purpose, right? And it's just an incredible place. It's like magic. But tell us about the technology, the exciting things going on that you have in store for Garden View from a technology perspective.
Well, this all started several years ago. You mentioned Dan. Dan Lavender, our CEO. He's a very innovative individual. And several years ago, we sat down and started talking about the assisted living. And one of the things he wanted us to do was how can we use technology to make our residents' lives better? We like to have our residents age fully and age successfully. When we sat down, we decided that we would design this assisted living around four pillars. The first pillar was safety and security. And that pillar is really about the electronic security of the doors. As an assisted living, we'll have memory care. So, residents who may be prone to wander, how do we keep them safe? And having a unified system so that it's all easy to utilize by our partners and is the most efficient use was important to us. So we went out and looked for some great partners, and we found a partner that were able to implement safety and security protocols in the assisted living. The second pillar that was around mobility, safety, and risk mitigation. As you're aware, and everyone that's probably watching, falls in senior communities is a topic that everyone talks about. And how do we prevent them or reduce them at least? So our goal is to proactively safeguard our residents during movement and transitions. So whether or not they're getting up out of bed or just walking. So one of the things that we always had to deal with was in the event of a fall, our residents in a traditional setting have to activate something, whether it's a pull cord or a wearable. We wanted that to be able to be notified by our technology if a resident had fallen without them having to do anything. So again, we went out and looked for partners, and we found a great technology where it is able to notify us if a resident does have a fall, as well as there's a wearable involved so that if they fall outside of their home, we're also able to get notified.
Mm.
The third pillar is around really smart communication because it's a tool to enhance resident safety, enhance their experience, and engage them more in all activities and manners. So we look for the ability for residents even our non-technical residents are able to use voice commands for many of our things. calling for help. If they need help, they're able to just verbally say, I need help, and we'll be notified that they're in need of help. And really, the top of this delicious cake is our intelligent care orchestration. I'm going to the first three pillars, if you look at other communities, most of them do this with what I call siloed solutions. Each
Yep.
one of them is a best of breed. So each one would have their own dashboard, and our partners wouldn't be able, they would have to go into three separate dashboards to
Yeah.
get information. What we're doing is we're creating a central intelligence layer that harmonizes the data from all those other pillars into a single platform so that we're able to generate actionable insights and support our residents with personalized high touch care. And so,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it's the potential that we're going to be able to realize. Individually, those technologies are great, but now we
Yep.
put them all, we're able to gather insights. And an example that I like to use a lot is, we have traditionally a resident maybe gets up 2 to 3 times a night, whether it's to go to the restroom or whatever. But now they're getting up 5 to 6 times a night. And so the different platforms are recognizing this extra change of their patterns. And so now we're able to maybe take action, and then maybe are they having a UTI? Are they, are they having other problems sleeping? So we're able to engage that resident and try to help them potentially get through a medical situation or just an emotional situation that they may be having, So that is our goal, is to really help our residents age gracefully, age successfully, and at the same time not be intrusive on their lives. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah,
I love this. This is so exciting. As you mentioned, many organizations have these individual solutions around safety and monitoring and care that you mentioned, but you're putting that layer on top that's
exactly.
breaking down the silos between. This is all valuable information in each of these individual systems,
Absolutely.
and bringing all of that data together and layering on top a dashboard and intelligence to say, hey, we're noticing patterns. I mean, that's what computers and that's what AI is good at, is recognizing patterns, right? So,
Absolutely.
not only is this such peace of mind for, like, if I have a family member moving in here, to know that you have this type of capability for your partners to take care of my loved one is just huge. It's such a differentiator. And
Absolutely.
if I'm a partner working there, it's like, thank you for giving me these tools that are going to just enable me to prioritize, where do I need to focus? Who do I need to
Exactly.
talk to? What do I need to talk to them about, right? What do I need to check on? And just be more proactive, and also just not spend so much time on the administrative and like digging through all of the information in these different systems and looking and trying to draw all these conclusions. It's just right there for you to look at, and then of course do your own due diligence and understanding
Absolutely.
the full picture. But it's definitely where we're headed as an industry.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it, efficiencies. If the platform is telling them that the resident is in bed in the middle of the night, there's no need to go in and disturb the resident and, potentially wake them up and things along those lines. So we know they're safe. We know they're in bed. There's no need, whereas a potential resident who's maybe has an indicator for falls is getting up out of bed. So now
Yeah.
we can respond to that resident much quicker before they fall. And that's the key. One of my big things that I've always wanted to do it is, we're good at finding faults after the fact.
Right.
I came from healthcare and hospitals, and one of my big things was always, med administration, where a lot of times you would find out about after the wrong med had been given. No, we want to find out before the fall, before the wrong med is given. And some of this technology is aiming for that, exactly that. So if the resident is sitting up in bed and they're identified as a fall, let's respond before they fall and prevent the fall so that their lives are so much better. To me, that's why I do this. That's why I come in here every day, is to help our residents through technology live a better life and, avoid any mishaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think that folks listening and providers out there, for me, I feel like they could be thinking, okay, I have one or two of those systems that you mentioned. What is the next step for them? My advice is really first let's look at those systems that you already have and make sure that you have adopted them effectively. Because, it's one thing to buy these three systems and roll them out, but you've got to be utilizing them, right? You've got to be doing it, having the data in there, that it's accurate, timely, etc. So optimizing your use of those platforms and then finding partners to create that layer on top and then cultivate these dashboards. So do you have any additional advice for maybe the provider who's like, that sounds great and I want to do it, but it feels hard, it feels difficult. Where do we start? Or how do we kind of move the needle in our organization?
So yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing I do is understand where you're going. This is a journey. So just like for if you were going on vacation, you don't just get in your car and go. You know where you want to go. So that's the first thing. Sit down internally with your leadership, with your operators, and what is the population you're trying to serve, and how do you help them? What do they need? I think once you have that, and that's exactly what we did. We sat down, we had a brainstorming session, and we told them during that session, for example, that we want all ideas. Don't think about cost. Don't think about does it exist. If you could come up with the perfect place, what would that look like? And that's what we spitballed everything and put it all out there. And then we went back afterwards and put things into buckets of like technologies. And then we went out and started looking for partners
Hmm.
that could help us with that. Moorings Park IT is a very small shop. I mean, there are literally four of us. So we look for partners that have the technical capabilities to implement, I don't want to say for us, but with us,
Yeah.
so that the heavy lift up for my team is not as heavy. We do more of the integrations and things along those lines. But finding the right partners is key, and then looking at the technologies that best suit your organization. Because I agree, if we found the best technologies, but then the partners didn't log into the dashboard,
Right.
it's having that. So making sure that, your partners, employees are, getting their feedback on what they need, because, this is a tool for them to use. So I don't want to give my nurses a hammer when they need a stethoscope. So their feedback is critical to your success. And I would strongly encourage, before you go down this path, getting everybody's feedback, putting it all together, and then giving it back to them to make sure that, as an IT person, I think I know it all, but make sure that I'm able to understand what they need, because I'm not a clinician. I don't claim to be one, and I don't play one on television.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
it's making sure that, their needs are satisfied so that they can in turn satisfy the needs of the residents.
Ah, that's so good. Yeah, I love it. This is what I'm always on my soapbox about is setting that vision, right? And engaging the users very early on.
Absolutely.
And that's going to create buy-in, but also it's going to, like you said, enable you to actually develop something that's valuable for them. So I
I,
love
I,
it.
I don't know how many times we've rolled things, and I've been in T for over 20 years. I don't want to age myself, but I agree. We've rolled out over the course of, I don't know how many times you roll out something and the buy-in from the end user wasn't there and it sat unused, and
Right.
and this is too important. Healthcare and senior living is too important to sit on the shelf and not be used. So I want to make sure that we generate the right tool for our partners.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tony. I really appreciate your time with us today and your willingness to share your experiences because I really think it helps other providers on their journey as they think about these types of solutions that they could be developing within their organization. So I appreciate your time and I hope you'll come back and speak with us again sometime in the future.
I would definitely love that. And thank you very much to you.
All right. Take
All
care.
right. Have a great day. Bye bye.